Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Lionsgate Podcast with Sahdi and Omni. I'm Omni.
And I'm Sahdi.
And today's episode is all about Dark Night of the Soul. We're going to go over that it's not just a breakdown or a spiritual low point, but we're going to go into what it is, what it looks like. We're going to talk about a couple celebs so you can see what it looks like from the outside and get a little bit of background of what it looks like from the inside. Some studies about it, psychosis versus Dark Night of the Soul, and some exercises to help you through it. And then we're going to go over what happens when your soul comes out of Dark Night of the Soul. Now, I will say I've never gone through Dark Night of the Soul, and up until maybe a year ago, I've heard of it, but I hadn't really dived into it. And it's pretty deep. I do know a few people personally that have gone through it, like my bestie Sahdi.
Yeah, I've definitely.
I've gone through a lot of low points in my life, but I've never gone through this. So let's get into it. I'm going to start off where the phrase Dark Night of the Soul originated from. The term originates from the 16th century mystic Saint John of the Cross, and he wrote a poem titled Dark Night of the Soul, describing the soul's journey through suffering towards divine union. And over time, it's been embraced by mystics, psychologists, and spiritual seekers across traditions. So it's pretty ancient.
Yeah. So like you were just saying, there are a lot of different transformations that we can go through in a lifetime, like thousands of different ones. Grief and tower moments and breakups and psychedelic ego deaths. You can have actual deaths and times when your life just completely falls apart and you put yourself back together. And those can completely shift your identity. Omni, you just went through something recently that completely shifted your identity. And that was a breakup that you had.
Yep.
And you have learned over the last year to fall in love with yourself.
Yeah.
It was like heavy transformation for you. And it's life-changing when those things happen. They're deeply spiritual, but they're not the dark night of the soul.
Right.
The dark night of the soul isn't just a breakdown or a shift in your reality. You can lose somebody that you love and completely come undone. And you can grieve and you can go through a breakup or come out a whole different person like you did. And you can experience in this lifetime trauma that sends you into really deep shadow work and inner child work. And you can move to a new city or lose everything that you have and then rebuild everything from scratch. And all of these things are soul defining. And a lot of them can lead to a rebirth within yourself. But a dark night of the soul goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
And this is what the difference is. Tower moments, and we call them tower moments because they're upheavals in our lives, like loss of certain things to move us in a different direction.
Yeah.
They come into our lives to collapse the things that aren't serving you anymore. And the dark night comes to collapse you. That's the difference.
Yeah. I see the visual of it is you're on your spiritual path and tower moments are little detours to keep you on the path. And then a dark night of the soul is like, you got to take a whole nother highway because you are just heading in the complete wrong direction.
Yeah. With some circumstances that can be completely right. Or some tower moments can completely devastate you. I mean, imagine building something for 25 years. That's not a small detour when that crashes. That's dissolving something that's been a part of your identity.
Yeah.
But it's still not a dark night of the soul.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I was married for 13 years.
Yes.
And that was a huge tower moment for me. Not to devalue the grief and hardship that goes along with those detours.
Right.
But in research, it's definitely not a dark night of the soul.
Right. You're not just grieving a person or a place or a version of life. You're grieving yourself. And it's your old self, your survival self, your identity. It's not about what's happening around you. It's the fact that nothing around you feels real anymore. And I remember when I went through mine, I remember saying, I feel like I'm in a Sims game. Do you know the video game Sims?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I have to go eat. I have to go use the bathroom. I have to get dressed and I have to go to work. I felt like I was in a video game. Nothing made sense to me. And you don't recognize your own reflection anymore. You don't resonate with your own voice. You can't even touch the things that used to set you on fire, the things that you used to love. It's almost like it repulses you. It can be triggered by tragedy. So a tower moment can trigger the dark night of the soul, but it doesn't actually need one. Sometimes the dark night comes after a big event like a death or a breakup or betrayal or something like that. But other times it comes without any warning at all. Everybody, including you, is like, what the fuck is going on with this person? And you just wake up one day and the light is just gone out of you. It's so hard to explain. It's just like you're no longer who you used to be, but you're also not who you're becoming either. And so you're like in this void, in this in between, and it's being in a cocoon like a butterfly.
Yeah.
And that's why they call it the dark night of the soul, because you look back and you're like, okay, I'm not that person anymore. Who am I?
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to be. And you're just like in this in between, and it's so scary.
Yeah.
And that's the terrifying part, because you can't point to a real reason. You might want to try to. Oh, I feel depressed, or I feel like this because of something going on in my life.
Right.
You feel like your whole entire soul is just unraveling, and there's nothing to hold on to. It's almost like Alice in Wonderland, like falling down.
That's what I was picturing in my head.
There's nothing to hold on to. And then at some point you're like, am I going up? Am I going down? And this is how you know it's not a breakdown though. Okay. So a breakdown wants to be fixed. And the dark night wants to be surrendered to.
Oh, okay.
So the tower moment is about external life falling apart, and the dark night is about the self dissolving from the inside out. A rebirth usually comes with clarity, even if it hurts, even if it's the worst pain that you've ever felt before. And the dark night comes with total disorientation. So it's a fine line between the two sometimes, but we're going to get into that today. By the time this episode is done, you guys, I promise you are going to be crystal clear on what the dark night of the soul really truly is. And I just want to say that, if this episode called out to you, I know that it's for a reason. And we're right here on this journey with you. Coming from my perspective of actually going through a dark night before, I have the experience of what it feels like. And Omni has had to watch someone go through a dark night and be witness to that. And so this is for everybody to listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're going through it right now, or you're watching someone you love go through something that you think might be the dark night of the soul, we're going to give you a lot of information in this episode so you can feel supported, or you can help support someone else.
Yeah, witnessing it is not an easy task. I could only imagine being the one going through it.
Exactly. And it's not just spiritual depression. It's not a healing phase or something like that. It's just a dismantling of everything you thought was you, so you can finally meet your true self underneath.
Yeah. This is not just something that somebody pulled from a poem and that's evolved. This is real life experiences, and it has been studied. There's a notable study published in Mental Health, Religion, and Culture, and they discuss how individuals going under such experiences often perceive them not as pathological, but as opportunities for personal growth and transformation. So the study emphasizes the importance of distinguishing these spiritual crises from clinical depression. So they're proving that this isn't just clinical depression, this is something bigger than us. Noting that while they do share some symptoms like sadness or withdrawal, that the underlying processes and outcomes can differ significantly. And then psychologist John F. Shoemaker describes it as an overarching psycho-spiritual crisis where individuals feel disoriented and unable to find meaning or purpose, which is what you just said. And then this concept aligns with experiences reported during the dark night of the soul. And then the last one I want to mention is that neuroscience has a study that explores relationships between spiritual experiences and brain activity. It shows that spiritual practices such as meditation and prayer can lead to changes in the brain regions associated with self-awareness and emotional regulation. So, for instance, research involving nuns revealed that recalling mystical experience activated multiple brain areas, suggesting that spiritual experiences are complex and involve various neural networks, meaning when you go through dark night of the soul, or if you're meditating.
When they hook people up to brain monitors that go very deep into trance meditation and stuff, same thing.
Yeah. So when you're going through exercises, try to help yourself, which we'll get more into later in this episode to help you out of the dark night of the soul or through it. These are things that are scientifically proven to help. Also, when they're studying people who have gone through dark night of the soul or going through these episodes, they hook your brain up and it shows as proof that there's a difference between just having a hard time, maybe a tower moment, a depression,
Right.
and this.
Yeah,
it
different.
really does dissolve you from the inside out, and science backs it up. So
Right. It's not just something that's going on in your mind. It's on a soul level.
yes.
And they're able to pretty much prove that.
Yeah.
A distinction between the two. And mental health systems mislabel dark night of the soul so often because it's not in their books. They're not trained to, oh, this is a dark night of the soul. There's something going on within their soul.
Yeah.
Because modern medicine doesn't treat the soul.
Nope.
They treat everything else.
They treat the avatar.
Exactly. Really sad part about this is because of that and because of our lack as a community, as a people, our lack of understanding what this truly is. Some people don't make it.
Yeah.
So this is the part that a lot of people don't talk about out loud. Even people like us, we've been doing this for a really long time. We talk a lot about spiritual things. But today I'm really glad that we're doing this because it's awareness to the darker side of spirituality. Not all spiritual awakenings are light and elevation. Some unravel your mind and your sense of self until you're unrecognizable, even to yourself. And some people don't make it through it, not because they're broken or weak or anything like that. It's because the world doesn't know how to hold a soul in sacred collapse.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. They're institutionalized for awakening. And it looks different for everybody. Not everybody that goes through the dark night of the soul is going to experience the exact same symptoms. So unless you're trained or you have knowledge to see and have the eyes to see it, you're going to fear it.
Yeah,
Especially like with you watching somebody go through that or watching somebody that you love completely dissolve in front of your eyes. It is terrifying, and it's scary for the people that are going through it too.
Yeah.
Some people are diagnosed with psychosis when they're really hearing the universe scream through the static, and it's overwhelming. Some people are labeled bipolar in the middle of a Kundalini awakening. And a lot of people are medicated to numb their symptoms during the exact moment that their spiritual gifts are trying to wake up.
Yeah.
They're trying to come back online. They're trying to remember. They're told that they're sick. Mommy's sick, or daddy's sick, or uncle's sick. So when they're really on the threshold of something that's ancient, they're locked in psych wards, like what happened to me. I'll tell a little bit of that story later. And what they really needed was a guide or a midwife or a drum, fire, or somebody that knew what it meant when the ego shattered and the light went out inside of somebody, to recognize that. So the dark night of the soul isn't your average breakdown, and you can't yoga it away.
Yeah.
You can't gratitude journal your way through spiritual annihilation. That is not going to happen. And when it hits you, it doesn't just pull the rug out from underneath you. It burns your whole house down. Your holy temple, your entire being is just disintegrating. And it leaves you sitting there with no map, no identity, no clue on what's going to come next. And that uncertainty is really scary. And then you don't even know how to ask for help. When you're in that situation, for me, I didn't even know how to ask for help with that because I just kept putting a smile on my face and I'm like, I'm a Sims now. I'm just going to keep everything's fine.
I'm not in the Matrix.
Right. Nothing felt real, but until I completely broke. And then there was nothing I could do to hide it.
Yeah.
Because in those moments, if those people who have been locked up and misdiagnosed and all that had just had somebody that told them, babe, you're not crazy. You're in the dark night. That alone might have saved their life. Yeah. It's like the soul's rite of passage through death without dying. And that's how it feels. It feels like you died, but you're still alive. It's like dying while you're still living.
Right.
It isn't just emotional pain. It's existential rupture, and it's your soul peeling itself out of the skin of your old life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come quietly at all. You can try to hide it for as long as possible, but you start to feel like you're literally going insane. You start questioning if you've lost your mind. You hear things that nobody else hears. Hallucinations are a big thing that come with that. You start to feel things so intensely that you can't function. It's too overwhelming. It's a sensory overload for you.
Yeah.
And you start seeing through people, like systems, and you start seeing people for who they truly are. And it could be somebody that you've known your whole life, your best friend. And then you start looking at them and you're like, oh, I can see something inside of you that I don't like.
Yeah.
And then they're looking at you like, you're my best friend. What are you talking about? Something's seriously wrong with her or him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the people aren't really understanding what you're seeing. You're seeing through them. You don't really feel like a person anymore. It's like you're a ghost.
I keep seeing Neo in the Matrix, and when he awakens in the Matrix and he embraces being the one, he sees everything as numbers, zeros and ones.
Yes,
he sees the codes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
And
I
it's
keep.
so similar.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember thinking that. I was like, I feel like a ghost in my own house. This doesn't feel like my house. This doesn't feel like my body.
It's got to be such an empty feeling.
It was. It's hard to explain. But it's like all these masks that you wear. I'm a mom, or I'm a dad, or I'm like this or that. All those masks that you wear, they start to fall off and nothing replaces them. You're bare. You're completely naked with the essence of who you truly are. It almost feels like being naked with every room that you walk into in front of people. You feel very exposed.
Yeah.
And you used to know who you were. You could code switch and you could shapeshift and fit into just any crowd with anybody. And now you just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
At all. You can't smile when you're dying inside. You can't pretend to care about surface conversations. You'll just walk away right in the middle of a conversation if it's not resonating with you. It's almost like you go numb to certain things and then hypersensitive with other things.
Like your soul isn't regulated.
Exactly. And sometimes you'll have fantasies about just leaving everything behind. I'm just going to jump on a plane and go to Peru and live with the shamans in the middle of the rainforest somewhere, like running away and disappearing, changing your name or becoming a monk in a cave living off grid in the forest, you know? And you don't really want to end your life. You don't want to be the version of yourself that you were before. So you're not really suicidal. You're just desperate to escape.
Yeah.
And then people are always like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? They start asking you these questions. How do you explain a spiritual death to someone who still thinks that healing is a 10-minute meditation?
Yeah.
You know
They're
what I
still
mean?
plugged into the Matrix.
Yeah. So you try to share it and you see it in their eyes and they just don't get it.
Yeah.
And they want to fix you and they want to offer you crystals, or you should change your diet, or you should smoke this, or you should drink that. They try to give you positive vibes or pray for you or whatever. But what you really need is someone to just hold space while you fall apart. That is the best thing that you can do if you're witnessing someone going through this. You don't want to tell them you're acting crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's what you really want to do, because you're freaking out if you're watching somebody go through this.
I will say I'm a fixer. And so it did take a lot of patience for me to create that space, but it taught me so much.
Yeah.
It really taught me to hold space for other people and to not try and fix the situation, because there's some things you just can't fix. And being present is the most important part.
And you're just watching them self-sabotage because, like I was saying, it looks different for everybody. Some people try to numb it. So while they're going through it, they'll turn to like alcohol, weed, sex addictions, disassociation, not because they're weak, but because they're just going through this transformation. It's messy. And then if they're not careful, the numbing starts to become the cage that they can't escape from too. So I don't know if it's more difficult to watch it or to go through it. It might be equal, because when you're really watching somebody you love just turning into a completely different version of themselves, and then you start to think, I've lost them forever. There's no way they can come back from this level of insanity.
It's a really helpless feeling.
Yeah. And then on their side, it's like they don't want to die. They just don't want to be here in this identity, in this skin, in this matrix. And they want out of the illusions, and nobody understands. They're trying to speak. They're sounding crazy to everybody that they're talking to.
It's like they're speaking a language that nobody else can understand
Yeah.
or speak.
Yeah. And then from the outside, this unraveling can look like madness. And sometimes it is. But other times it's an actual dark night. This is how you can tell the difference. So I'm going to get into this because I don't want to just sugarcoat it and have people listening being like, oh, they're having a dark night of the soul when they really need help. So psychotic breaks disconnect you from reality, and dark nights disconnect you from identity.
Okay.
In a psychotic break, you start to lose touch with reality. And in a dark night, you're still aware of what's real around you, but you don't know who you are inside of it, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense.
Psychosis fractures your mind, and the dark night fractures your ego. Psychosis starts to distort thoughts and patterns and your logic and your perception of the world. And the dark night distorts the meaning, not the facts. So you still see everything clearly. You just don't know where you belong in it anymore. And so if you're in a vibration of you've been at the same job for a really long time and you're not resonating there anymore and you're in the middle of a dark night of the soul, to them, it could look like you're in psychosis.
Yeah.
But you're just like, everything is bothering me. This place isn't resonating with me anymore. Your eyes start to move differently and your body's reacting energetically. And the people that have known you are going to start questioning your sanity in front of you. And that's the scary part for everybody. And usually the dark night doesn't have violence. With psychosis, sometimes you can completely lose touch with reality. Like I was saying, with a dark night, you can still have some hallucinations, but you have the mind about you to be like, oh, that's not real.
Yeah.
But when you're in psychosis and you're having hallucinations, you think it's completely real because you've disassociated. Your brain has like a fracture.
Yeah.
And when you're seeing things that nobody else does, when you're in a dark night of the soul, you're actually seeing through the veil.
Yeah.
You're seeing spirit. You are seeing energy on things. You're seeing things that are truly there. And you just haven't developed the skill yet to control it. And you do have your times when you feel really depressed, but you're not usually violent.
Yeah.
You don't want to hurt anybody else.
You just want to stop hurting.
Exactly. When people are experiencing psychosis, they can be really aggressive and unpredictable kind of behavior where you don't know what's going to happen. And when you're having a dark night, even though they might be suicidal or a little disconnected, it's more like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to hurt myself or others. I just don't want to feel this anymore. And psychosis can be treated with medication and intervention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dark night has to be surrendered to and moved through. There's no medication on the face of this earth that is going to get you through a dark night.
Right.
It just isn't. And medication can help stabilize the mind. It takes time to surrender to the dark night.
Yeah.
And there's not a pill out there that can make you skip the soul death.
You got to feel
So,
it.
yeah. Somebody comes out of a dark night. Most of the people that I've talked to or I've read about, they talk about feeling like they're reborn. They're nothing like they used to be. And they're more rooted and soulful and real. Coming out of psychosis, sometimes months or years after, you're still feeling confused.
Yeah.
You're still not feeling grounded or connected or anything like that. There's no growth.
Yeah. You can look back and be like, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah, there's no spiritual clarity on it.
Yeah. You're like, man, I was being crazy because I believed that that person was my sister and I was in this fantasy.
Exactly. So they can mimic each other, but that's why discernment is critical in this situation. We don't really live in a world that has spiritual base to hold these transitions. So a lot of people fall through the cracks, having access to more than just one path. Immediately, a lot of people are like, oh my God, they're going crazy. Let's put them in a psych ward.
Yeah.
When that's not exactly what they might need. Getting the police involved, traumatizing them even more, having them heal in a place that's got padded walls.
Yeah.
Because unless they're a danger to themselves or to other people, of course, if they're violent or they're hurting other people, or there's no way for you to stop them from hurting themselves, that could sometimes be an option. If you don't have somebody like me or a spiritual healer that is on speed dial,
Yeah.
that can rush over and be like, okay, let's sit with the situation. I was just recently in a situation like that where it was a fine line between, do we call and try to get this person into a psych ward right now, or do we collect all the guns from the house and do we let him sleep, and then do we do a spiritual sponge bath the next day and let his brain rest and give him words of affirmation and do spiritual healing.
Yeah.
And that was what he needed. But it's a fine line. So you just have to trust your intuition with that as well. But I would say just don't always jump to admitting someone into a hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be really vulnerable with you guys. I have my own story. I won't go through all the details of what got me there, but I did go through a period of time where I was saying everything is fine. I'm good. Just going about my life and not asking for help. And I didn't really realize what was happening to me. Mine didn't have a ceremony attached to it or anything like that, or a ritual. Mine came at 2:00 in the morning and I was in a locked bathroom. And it was so quiet. I remember feeling like I could hear the silence louder than I'd ever heard it before in my life. I remember just crying softly because I didn't want anybody to hear me. And all I could think about was, I cannot survive another second inside my own skin. I can't. And I know this sounds really bad, but my whole family was there because, of course, if I'm going to fall apart, it had to be dramatic. It was the night before Thanksgiving and my whole family was in town to celebrate. And there were people at my house and it was 2:00 in the morning and people were about to start getting up to make the turkey and everything else, right? So my son-in-law found me and then the ambulance came. I couldn't pretend anymore that I was fine, And I don't really fully remember that night, but I wasn't even embarrassed. It was almost like if you drink too much and you have a blackout. And you remember bits and pieces of it. It was like that.
Wow.
And it's not a clear memory. It's kind of like if somebody reminds you of a movie that you watched 10 years ago and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that movie. And there might be a couple details that you really remember. And the rest of it is just like a blur. You'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But I remember waking up the next day and I was in the hospital bed and a nurse came in and I recognized her from the night before. I asked her what happened last night. And I was obviously hooked up to IVs and my whole body felt like I got hit by a train and there was obvious signs of what had happened to me. She was like, no, you were really nice. You were really sweet. She's like, but you just kept begging me to let you go home.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I probably wanted to go home. She's like, well, you really didn't want to go to your house. You kept saying, I want to go home. I don't want to go to my house. I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home where my soul is from. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't do it. I can't do it. And so she explained to me what I was saying. Oh, my kids were scared. They were adults, but they were scared. And my partner didn't know what to do. Nobody knew how to hold the version of me that wasn't okay anymore. Because I was always okay. I always held my shit together. And I wasn't the version that they knew anymore. I completely came unraveled and I died that night. I really did. But my body stayed. I'm still here today. And it's not because I got better. I didn't get better. It was because something inside of me, underneath all of that pain, decided to transform and surrender.
Did hearing that nurse speak back what you had said the night before?
It triggered. I remembered.
You remember?
I was begging her. I was like, please let me go home. I wanted to die.
Yeah.
And that's what I kept repeating over and over. I was like, just let me go. Just let me go, please. This isn't my home. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go back home to where my soul came from. That's how I felt. Yeah. And no amount of comfort or, you have kids, you have everything to live. Like, none of that mattered. It was so painful that I wanted out of my body. I couldn't be in this body anymore. I couldn't. 72 hours later, that's the hold. I got to come home. And thankfully, I had a partner who wasn't afraid of my breakdown. He was just happy I was home. And he didn't yell and he didn't shame me for this and he didn't call me crazy. But he did take a few days off of work, and he just chilled with me. And he stayed really calm and grounded and present. He gave me the one thing that I really needed. And I just want this to impact anybody that's listening. I needed things to be quiet so I could hear myself. I didn't need to be saved, but I did need to figure it out on my own. And I had to come back online and back to myself. Sometimes it's not about the perfect words or somebody rescuing you or saving you. It's like finding somebody that's comfortable in your silence. And just whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm going through, just quietly, okay? And just giving you what you need, like some soup or some food or, keep the lights down low. Like if your brain is a filing cabinet and somebody just came and took every single paper that's in that filing cabinet and threw it up in the air. And then you're slowly trying to pick up every single piece and put it back in order.
My OCD could never.
Right.
I would break.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't have a dark night of the soul.
I don't know.
I would not cope.
Yeah. It's breaking in a way that you never thought that you could break before.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's not even a reason for it. I feel like that's the biggest part is you will come out of it. Yeah. And it's really scary for the other person because they're looking at you like, this is not the person that I love. That's not them.
Yeah.
And then you're scared, like, are they ever going to come back? Are they stuck this way forever? Like, are they completely broken?
Yeah.
They're not broken.
No.
They're becoming. And you just have to allow them a safe space to do that. And sometimes it's a couple weeks. Sometimes it might be a couple months, but that's usually about it if you're in the right conditions. So.
Right. And patience.
Yeah. And I remember like during that time, I really started getting interested in like Jim Carrey. And I can really resonate because I know for a fact that he went through a dark night of the soul.
Yeah. We've talked about it before where he's been on interviews and people are like, oh, he's acting crazy. He's lost it. I remember watching an interview where he talks about this isn't real. I'm just an avatar. This isn't who I am. And I remember watching him and from an outside perspective, you could say, oh, he's lost it. But when you're more spiritually in tune, you're like, oh no, he's woken up. He understands that we are more than just the skin suits we wear.
Right. It's like, I don't exist. There is no me.
Yeah, that's right.
There are just things happening. And most people think that he was joking or being dramatic.
And it was in the height of his fame.
That was his ego dissolving.
Yeah. On national TV.
Yeah. That was a soul who has literally witnessed false self collapse. He's talking about the aftermath, period. He built his life playing characters.
Yep. Putting on masks.
Yep. The Mask.
Yep.
Liar, Liar, Truman Show. And he became a master of shapeshifting.
Yeah.
After decades of that, something inside of him snapped. And that's when he had his dark night.
Yeah. And he literally said in an interview, Jim Carrey is just a character.
And he was like, I was depressed. And people talked about depression all of the time. And the difference is I wasn't sad. I was just deeply tired, is what he said. I was tired of playing the character of Jim Carrey.
Yeah. And I know there was a quote that was along those lines too, that he said that when people are depressed, it's just their soul being tired of playing the avatar that's playing them or something to that extent. I was like, oh, wow, that's very profound.
And that's not clinical depression. That's soul level fatigue. When his body was saying, we're done pretending now. I'm not performing anymore. I want to go home now.
Instead of avoiding the pain, he leaned into it.
He wasn't losing it, right? And like you said, he started to pull back from Hollywood and people thought he was losing it, but he wasn't.
No.
Like he was remembering who he was without all of the other identities
he
was taking on.
He got into painting.
Oh, that's right.
Man, he is such an amazing artist.
Yes.
Embraces his creativity in a different way.
Yep.
He started exploring mindfulness and non-duality and then the spiritual presence. Eventually awakening to realizing that he was not his thoughts, his fame, or even his name.
Yeah, so it goes to show it doesn't matter how rich, how famous you are, or if you're homeless. Anybody between either one of those lines can have a dark night. It doesn't give a shit who you are.
Yeah.
Period.
Because fame is third dimensional.
Yeah. And so even Jim Carrey, he was describing it at a certain point, you look around and every identity you've constructed has collapsed and there's nothing left. But in that nothingness, there's freedom.
Yeah.
Because it really is all of those other identities that society or your parents or that you were conditioned to believe were you, that's a prison. And then you can't take it anymore.
You break down the walls. Yeah.
And you become free.
He literally says, I don't exist. I'm just consciousness experiencing itself.
I've always loved him.
Yeah.
He talked about, remember in the manifesting
Yep, that's what I
episode,
was
we were
gonna
talking
say,
about him. He manifested his fame.
Yeah. It really tracks that he went through a dark night of the soul and became awoken because he was already tapped in.
Yeah. And he called bullshit on all of the other stuff because he hit the void. And he's like, I'm no longer an actor. I don't care what you think of me. I'm just awareness.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because when I was listening to him talk about all of that stuff, I was like jumping up and down. I was like, oh shit. Like I understood everything. I overstood what he was saying.
Yeah.
And understood what he was saying on every single level. It was resonating with me. And then I'm like looking online and I'm seeing all these people. He's crazy. Like he's lost his fucking mind.
They're just
and I'm
plugged
like,
into the matrix.
I know.
And then somebody else, Lady Gaga, who I love. Lady Gaga has openly talked about her intense trauma or PTSD and periods of complete emotional collapse. But at one point she said it didn't feel like she belonged to the world anymore. And her pain wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. She lost touch with who she really was underneath the fame and costumes and the pressure to perform. But what makes her story so powerful is that she didn't just push through it. She allowed herself to break. And then Gaga describes feeling like she had to die to be reborn.
Yes.
Which echoes the essence of Dark Night of the Soul. And then during that time, she turned inward, leaning on therapy, somatic healing, which we've talked about, spiritual practices to slowly rebuild from the inside out. And she uses her voice to this day, not only to perform, but to speak out about mental health, self-compassion, and healing, which I know she talks about mental health. I didn't realize she'd gone through a dark night of the soul. Right. And I do know she supports a lot of charities that help mental health and younger kids that have gone through trauma when they're in foster care and whatnot, which leads to things that you can do to help you through Dark Night of the Soul. She touched on a few.
And I do like that she talked about counseling too, because I think that you should take anything. Like someone was talking to me about the Dark Night of the Soul recently, and they said that AA really helped them.
Really?
Yeah, because there's like a step program with that. And
surrendering to a higher power.
Right. And they were like, well, what really messed me up was I don't really believe in a higher power like Jesus, or, I'm not religious.
They always go to that.
I was like, well, do you believe in yourself? And they were like, yeah. I was like, do you believe in your higher self? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, that's a higher power.
Yeah.
Go with that. If you don't believe in anything else, believe in yourself. And you can just, move things around within that dynamic. And counseling is great. If you can find a counselor that also recognizes the dark night of the soul, even better.
And they are out there. Or a spiritual life coach.
A spiritual life coach, or you can combine that.
Yep.
I just want to say this right now. I don't care where you are in the world listening. If you are in the middle of a dark night of the soul and you need help and there's nobody to sit with you, go to my website, sacredflame.love. My phone number's there. Call me, send me an email if you don't want to talk, send me a text. I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
Because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And you didn't come across this episode for no reason. So I just want to put that out there. Suicide hotlines are available too, but I found when I was having my dark night of the soul that it did the opposite of helping me. Oh. Because it felt like it was scripted and it felt like part of the matrix and it felt fake.
Oh, okay.
To me. Not saying that it's not a great resource for certain things. Maybe you'll get the person on the other side of the line that's really going to help you in that moment. Going and just using everything. You don't have to say, well, I don't want to go to a doctor. I don't want to go to a therapist because it's a dark night of the soul. I need just a spiritual advisor or a ritual, or I need this or that. Just be open to any help that comes your way because it's usually divinely guided towards you.
Yeah, those are beautiful things that are accessible to most people. There's things you can do if you don't feel like you can reach out. Void walking, for one, which is just going outside at night or at dawn or dusk and you walk in silence and it's slowly like a ghost. Like Sahdi, you said you felt like a ghost. But you do that with no phone and no distractions, and you observe what calls to you, like the moon, a tree, a sound.
Plants, even out gardening, rooting yourself in the silence. And that's the part of it too, is that, like I was talking about earlier, just that calmness.
Yeah.
You're so hypersensitive in that void that sensory overload is not healthy for you.
Yeah. And it's easy to happen.
So if you're just quietly gardening, even garden at midnight if you have to when nobody else is around.
Yeah. I want to get into grounding. And we do talk a lot about that in a lot of episodes, but I want to go into exactly what grounding is. I know we talk about walking barefoot on the earth and the circadian heartbeat and how that helps regulate your nervous system, which is all true. But you can also ground by putting your hand on a tree.
Yeah.
It just refers to the direct skin contact with the earth, and it's connecting your body to the earth's electrical field. And then this may sound spiritual or alternative, but it's also very scientific. So there's a study in 2015 in the Journal of Inflammation and Research that shows that grounding reduces inflammation and wound healing, but it oxidizes your cells and helps with circulation. So when you go outside, it's not just like a hippie tree thing where you just go hug
Tree
a tree.
huggers.
Yeah. It literally helps with your circulation, which helps with your nervous system. It's so beneficial. That society that used to tell people that they were dirty hippies or tell people that that is crazy woohoo stuff is now inventing mats that you can put on your bed to help with grounding.
Yep.
They're inventing shoes with no soles that help you with grounding because it's so beneficial to your health physically. And now that they have science to back it up, now all the products are coming out. But you don't need them.
Yeah.
You can go out there and do it yourself. And if you have
You
to do
don't
it,
need shoes that don't have soles. Just
you have
you
a
have
soul.
soles of your feet.
Yeah. And if you have to do it at midnight and go on a walk through the void barefoot, go do it.
Yeah. And if you can't leave your room, because that can happen where you just feel like you can't even be outside, open a window.
Yeah.
Put your hand on one of your plants if you have to.
Yeah.
Get a weighted blanket. That's really grounding. And do meditations. Meditations are really important because you're disoriented when you're in the void. You don't know which way's up or down. Grounding is one of the most important things to do.
Yeah. Grounding stabilizes cortisol, which is literally the stress hormone and is the key to sleep-wake cycles and stress responses. When you're stressed out, your sleep pattern's all messed up. And grounding is a very powerful tool to help with that.
Eating foods that are from the earth, potatoes and root vegetables, and working on your root chakra, singing bowls, frequencies, and things like that can really help because it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
You're not just turning on the TV and numbing yourself or scrolling on your phone or something like that. You're actually using spiritual tools to help your spiritual body.
Even swimming in natural water is grounding.
I can imagine just swimming in general too. Natural water, if you have that available, but even if you can find a community pool on a day that there's not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just floating in that water.
And you know what I like to do is when I go into the water, I like to float and have my ears under the water because it's so silent.
Yeah. Or a sensory deprivation tank.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
Or
idea.
in your own bathtub with some herbs, grounding oils.
Yeah.
You know, oils carry very distinct vibrations with them. Ashwagandha, that helps with the cortisol levels in your body as well and regulate them. It's a really good herb to use when you're going through something like this as well. If you or somebody you know is going through this, just think peaceful, quiet, vibrationally grounding, safety. You know, they need to feel safe.
I just keep thinking of when somebody's going to rescue a feral dog and how you have to approach
Oh my
them.
God.
No, I'm being
You're
for
thinking
real.
feral dog.
Well, I'm just thinking a feral dog is
Yeah.
bites and it freaks out because it's scared and it needs a safe environment, and it takes time and gentleness of approaching it to realize it's safe. So patience.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a cocoon, like that butterfly about to emerge. And if it's in a chaotic situation and it's trying to become, imagine if it's by a lake and it's in a bush away from danger.
Yeah.
That would probably feel really good to do that.
Yeah.
But if it's in a chaotic situation and there's like a tornado going by and like,
it's not going to want to come out.
yeah.
And when caterpillars go into their cocoon and become a butterfly, they literally have to dissolve the entire being.
Yeah.
They turn into a soup. Sounds gross, but it's true.
Yeah.
In order to redevelop as the butterfly.
Right.
So it's a great analogy.
You just need that piece. Much.
Just know that you're going to be a butterfly.
Yeah. We've talked about the struggle and what it is, and I'm pretty sure we've made it pretty clear.
Yeah.
I want to get to the fun part of it. And this is what happens after the void, after the initial dark night episode, I guess we would say. And you don't just come back all at once. You rise in pulses, in waves, in sparks. And when you do, you don't just feel better, you feel different. Music doesn't just sound good. It moves through your bones and your energetic system when you listen to it. And you can feel the vibration behind it, like it's unlocking something. And your senses are different, and you hear and see people differently, and you hear yourself and see yourself differently. And you start reaching for medicine that you never used to trust, like plants and drums and fire and moonlight and your own breath. You don't want to numb anymore. You want to feel everything. You'll have moments where you're just like, you want to jump off a cliff or go skydiving or fall in love again or start over. And it's not scary anymore. You get excited about it. And your soul is saying like, hell yes.
Yeah.
For the first time in years or maybe your entire life. You start talking to animals and you understand the moon cycles, and you sit in the sun like it's your teacher.
Yeah.
And you hear the trees, like you were talking about the trees, and you start walking barefoot like the earth knows your name now. You're one with it. And you don't have patience anymore to perform or pretend at all. You just don't. And your nervous system starts to tell you things instantly. Like, this isn't safe. This isn't real. This is pretending. Don't pretend. Instantly downloads, that you get, and your body rejects it. You can't even pretend anymore that you like somebody or you like a situation. You just don't. It reminds me of like a phoenix.
Yeah.
Not just from ashes, but from a deeper truth. You wouldn't trade what you learned for anything in this world. Like, who you become afterwards is just somebody who is more in their own authenticity. You're authentically you.
Yes.
On a soul level. And it doesn't mean like you're better than everybody else. You're not even in competition with anybody else at that point. And you start to listen to people differently. You listen with your whole body. You can feel fear from someone. It's like empath without the absorption.
Yes.
And you don't have to talk all the time. You speak less, because when you do say something, it carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
You just become softer.
Yeah.
And not because you're weak. Everybody's like, oh, you're so strong or whatever.
You're soft.
Yeah, you do become softer. It's because you don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore. You know how powerful you are. It reminds me of somebody who's an expert at martial arts. They don't go around picking fights.
Nope.
Because they know they're a badass. In their mind, they're like, if you make me hurt you.
Yeah, that's on you.
Please don't make me hurt you.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight you because I know that I would hurt you.
Yeah.
And so they carry that peace within them because they don't want any trouble. They don't want to fight with you.
Yeah.
They're softer because of their strength.
I love that.
And you start to become wild. It's funny that you said feral, because you start to become kind of feral and wild, and it's not chaotic.
Yeah.
You feel free. The old version of you, the one that the world trained you to be, that person's gone. They don't exist anymore. You stop craving approval. You crave truth.
Yeah.
You want so much knowledge. You're like, feed me anything that's true because it resonates through your body and it gives you an adrenaline rush and you get so excited about it. Maybe it used to be that you used to get excited when people would tell you lies or, oh, I have to go check to make sure he's not cheating on me or she's not doing this or whatever, playing detective or investigator or gossiping. Oh, girl, I can't wait to tell you what this happened. And you're sitting there talking shit about somebody for 2 hours.
Or fighting with people on the internet for no reason.
You're craving more truth and you're seeking that out. You're seeking out your tribe. You're like, oh, these people I've been around, they don't resonate with me anymore. And so you're putting yourself in situations where you're just like, you're my people.
Yeah.
I'm going to find my people. I'm going to find the people that are like me.
That'll charge me up.
Yes.
Give me energy.
And you don't beg to be seen anymore because you're witnessing yourself. So you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You sit back and look at yourself after you've gone through this and you're like, oh my God, I love myself so much.
Yeah.
I love myself.
Look what I just went through.
Maybe other people won't understand you. And maybe some people drift away from you and your energy might not match some rooms that you're in anymore. That's okay. And you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You really don't care. You're not here to match anybody's energy anymore. You're here to radiate. You're here to move the energy of any room that you walk into. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. If you're in a good mood, you stay in a good mood all day. There's nothing that can happen to distract you from that.
Yeah.
You walk into a room, you change their day. They don't change your day. And as the game starts to advance and you get to a new level and new lessons, I'm not saying that once you have a dark night of the soul, your life is great and there's no obstacles anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's new devils. There's new strategic obstacles that are placed on your path.
Yeah.
But I think back on it and I'm like, wow, some of these things that are going on in my life, I might have 4 or 5 things happen to me that are disturbing or disruptive to my peace. But the way that I react to them is completely different. It goes in, I feel it for a few minutes and I'm like, oh, I don't react with panic anymore. Or fear or self-abandonment, or I don't see it as punishment. Even if somebody's mad at me, I'll feel that and I'll try to resonate and see it from their perspective before I fear it. I'm always like, okay, well, what is this teaching me? Where's the growth? What am I learning from this? I'm kind of curious about it because especially when something's really heavy, I'm like, oh, this is a really heavy lesson.
Yep.
Where before I would have been like, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out,
I always say I'll give myself a day to be upset about this if it's a big thing. And then tomorrow I'm letting it go.
Yeah. And that's a good way to do it too. But for me, even like I can kind of process it quick.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's a big thing.
Right. I'm not saying somebody pisses you off at work and you hold on to it all day. If you can't control it, let it go.
Yeah. For me, if I'm deep in positivity and I'm manifesting and everything, and then something throws an obstacle in my way, I'm like, oh, that was a little... that was a little speed bump. Well, shit. And then the bigger the speed bump, the bigger the obstacle, of course, the more that I have to take it in. And I don't want to ignore things that are going on and just be like, I'm not just happy all the fucking time, I still cry. I have emotions. Like I feel everything. But I just, I can't sit in it.
Yeah.
I just can't. Like
that's a great way to look at that.
I welcome it kind of as a challenge, as a teacher, and I try to embrace it and work with it, not against it, because I'm like, okay, this is a problem I need to work with, not around.
Right.
And ignore it and avoid it.
Because if you ignore it, it doesn't...
It comes back in a different version.
Yeah. You're not learning anything and you're pushing your feelings down. You're not feeling them.
And you will learn it. If you're supposed to learn a lesson, you're going to learn it regardless.
The hard way?
Yeah. You want to learn it this way?
Oh, you mean my favorite way?
Right. Fuck, I know. And because you learned that everything is sacred, when you stop resisting all of it, your own becoming, you start to become the one who survived all of that, and you're still here. And your soul is not just intact, mind, body, soul. You are thriving in this new identity, in this new version of who you always were supposed to. And you become the one who doesn't run away from pain anymore. You almost run towards it because pain demands to be felt. Pain is one of the most brutal intelligent teachers, I think, of all. Love and pain. Those are the two. And you've already sat with death and you still chose to live. And you're the one that carries that with you. And you can't unsee it. You can't unfeel it. You can't ungo through a dark night.
Right.
And it's not just a glow up, it's evolution. You didn't come out of the dark to play small either. If I can go through that, I can go through anything.
Yep.
It's kind of like, I don't know if this is the right metaphor or whatever, but I was in an abusive relationship for a long time, and he was like 6'2", almost 200-pound grown man. He was very abusive. Sometimes he would hit me like I was his equal. And I look back on that and I'm like, wow, if I can go through that, there's not a lot that I fear.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I'm looking for anything to physically happen, because part of me has died too in that situation. I'm not really fearful of physical pain as much as I used to be.
Right.
Things can change you in that aspect as well, where you're just like, I don't want that to happen. Thank you. Like, I don't think I'd like to get my ass beat today, but if it happens, it's something that I'd be prepared for.
Yeah.
I've been through this before. I'll be okay.
So for those of you that have already gone through a dark night of the soul, and if you go through another one, you kind of know the game.
You can have breakdowns and breakthroughs, and like we said in the beginning, tower moments and huge life things that happen to you that shift you completely into a new version of yourself.
And you become a butterfly.
You do. Or a nice dog.
A dog that feels love.
A dog that's not feral.
Yeah. A dog that gets cuddles now.
Right. We've given you a lot of information here, but always do your research.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we couldn't cover today.
Yeah, and everybody's individual. So take what resonates and do your own research to fill in the gaps.
Yeah. And sometimes just researching can help.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the research can be divinely guided as well. If you don't feel like you got all of the answers that you needed here, tap into spirit, tap into your soul, tap into your breath, and open a book. I remember somebody told me one time, open a book, any book.
Yeah.
And just start reading. It can be a children's book or just something that you have on your shelf, and you'll get a message.
I love that.
But just open yourself up to anything that could help you through this. Ask spirit, and you'll be guided in the right direction.
Yeah.
And just know that you will be okay. Or if the person that you love is going through this, they're going to come out of it.
Yeah.
This is not forever. This is temporary.
And it's beautiful on the other side.
Is.
As always, just remember to keep your minds open.
Namaste.